Dr. Love, you're live.
Hello and welcome to the Dr. Love Show. I'm Gabby Love, your love counsel and a matchmaker based in New York and Los Angeles. I am currently working towards my PhD, and my dissertation is on relationship satisfaction and personality types. Please stay tuned to watch this episode on public access in New York. I thank you all and my producer Cooge for being a part of this adventure. Each episode focuses on a topic designed to sharpen your loving skill set and sharing best practices and effective attitudes, strategies, and techniques for building a healthy, vivacious love relation. This episode deals with what men want and need and the key challenges that they face in 2016. I came up with this episode due to a lot of my research of last year, and I came up with some analysis and some theories that 2016 is really the first time in history where men are able to marry for true love and romance. I recently lectured that at my Trump Towers event, and I'll explain exactly what I mean by that. In prehistoric days, men married to save and protect us women, so we weren't killed or raped by evil men. Fast forward to the 20th century, and men married to protect us from poverty, since it wasn't until the women's movement in the 70s that we as women could even consider financially supporting ourselves, or much less be financially abundant. So if a man liked us good, or he liked us a little bit, he might have been liable to marry us out of humanitarianism, because most guys are good guys. Today, in the 21st century, times are finally evolved enough where men can marry us for love. Pure love, romantic love, and not just to secure sex. That is why, in my theory, it is harder to get commitments out of guys these days, because they really can look for love and not marry us for humanitarianism, protection, or other reasons like that. So things have become better for men, thank goodness, due to the times. I have selected a panel of phenomenal men to help me assist my viewers in understanding men better. So I decided to go straight to the men. So let's start with John Davis, is my first guest expert today, who is a top advertising director in Los Angeles, who's also a brilliant artist. John spent years traveling the world, 55 countries in all, as he was living his single life. At one time, he even taught workshops for men on how to meet and attract women. Then John finally met the love of his life, his nomadic soulmate and humanitarian aid worker. They have traveled and lived all over the world, even to countries in Africa. Next, we have Dan Cameron. Dan is a world-class model and poker player. Over the years, Dan has appeared in GQ, Details, Numero Homme, and many others. He has been the face of Diesel 2 times, Pull and Bear, Artful Dodger, and Lucky Blue Jeans. Dan has worked most of the runway shows internationally, such as Louis Vuitton, Cavalli, Jean-Paul Gaultier, and DKNY. That's not Dan. That's John. Where's Dan?
Thanks, Coach.
Where's Dan? There we go. That's Dan. Now, John does look like a model as well, but we need to but we need to identify. John is married. Dan is a model. Okay. So Dan has worked most of done the runway shows internationally and worked as a poker player where he specializes in online tournament-style play and taking up to 3 finishes in hundreds of mid-stakes Texas on-hold tournaments. So happy to have Dan. And Dan, you are in Germany, right? Isn't it like 2:30 a.m. or something crazy right now?
Yeah, it's 3 a.m. right now, but I took a nap to be here with you guys, so I'm okay.
Oh, thank you so much for being here with us. I really appreciate that.
It's my pleasure. You're very welcome.
Thank you. Next, we have Mike Goldstein, who is New York City's easy dating coach. Mike is my favorite male dating coach who helps men and women clients through his one-on-one coaching, and currently has 6 clients that are married with 7 children between them. And where's Mike? Mike?
Hello. Hi.
There you are. How are you? Okay. Mike has been featured on the Today Show, on NewJersey.com, and Patty's Millionaire Matchmaker Show, as well as Shape Magazine. 83% of Mike's clients are into and enter relationships during the coaching with Easy Dating Mike Coach. And he currently has 100% client satisfaction. Boy, Mike, I'm jealous. I wish I could say the same for my record. Dr. Love Enterprises has a bad tendency to really insult some of my more sensitive clients. And I get fired quite often. And I always know it's meant to be when that happens, that the person probably needed to hear what I had to say. But from now on, I'm glad that I have you to refer them over to, where they will have 100%, you have 100% retention rate. That is awesome.
They'll thank you one day, I'm sure. They'll thank you for being honest with them.
It often does come back.
Yeah.
It does, and once they calm down, so thank you, Dan. That makes me feel even better. Thank you. Okay. So let's just get on with that. John, tell us, what's your wife's secret in getting a marriage proposal out of you?
Yeah, it's funny the way you phrase that question. It sounds a little bit, oh, are we on the right person? It sounds a little bit like a trick. There was a trick that was that I used to get her to to get me to propose to her, and really it was there was 2 things that were happening. The first thing was I was actually ready to get married. I was in my mid-30s. I had been dating a lot of women, and I was a bit frustrated from the dating scene, and I wanted to find somebody who would check all the boxes, so to speak. And I was really ready. So I had internalized that kind of decision before I even met her. And interestingly, right after I had thought about this and really set the intention to meet somebody really special, it was very soon after that that I met my future wife. Once we started dating, the thing that she did, I would say it wasn't really a secret, it was just honesty. And she told me, she said, I really want you to know how much I love you, how much I want to be with you, but I also need you to tell me that this is going to be a serious thing for you. I think she sensed that I had been a player and maybe we'd spend a few years together and then I'd take off. And she didn't want to waste time, and I respected that, and I respected her boundary. And so when I got that boundary and I understood it, and because I loved her, that caused me to really sit down and kind of go inward and think about what I wanted. And I did want to be with her. So I overcame a lot of fear, and something I think a lot of guys deal with is that fear of commitment. But I think I got to that point quicker because of her being upfront and being setting her own internal boundary and coming to me with that. So those 2 things really created the opportunity for me to make that decision. And after 3 years, I proposed to her, and we've been married for 7. We've been together for 10 years, and we've had an incredible partnership. It's been absolutely amazing. So I don't regret it at all. And yeah, that's the story.
That is so beautiful. And I just
Yeah.
know, yeah, and just know that you have taught a lot of women, a lot of femmes, you know, in my business I call the women femmes just to keep it hip and fun. And I think you've taught a lot of us that. It sounds like she had a phenomenal communication skill with you, and that she really stood out above other femmes by telling you exactly what her needs were and what she wanted, and you respected that, and that made her stand out. Because I do know I work with a lot of women now who sometimes let the man run that show, and there is something to the woman that knows what she really wants and lets you know in a way that's not forceful, that's not demanding. That's beautiful the way that she did. I love that. That's a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that. Let's jump over to Dan real quickly, back here in Germany. So Dan, my question to you, Dan?
Yes, I'm listening.
My question to you is, I have to be able to see you in order to feel like I'm talking to you.
I agree.
My question to you is, since you are a very successful model, does it take being a successful model femme to catch your attention? And what kind of femmes do attract you the most?
Yeah, so the short answer is no, of course not. I look for a woman with grace, and you know, grace and beauty, they're very subjective things. It can be anything, but an adventurer, someone with a big smile, a good heart. You know, I just look for somebody that's confident and believes in themselves, but at the end of the day, I want somebody to cherish me as much as I'm going to cherish them. So no, I don't need a beautiful model, but I will say some of the models I've met over the years can make you a little dizzy. There's an elegance and a grace that they have, and that's why they're such successful models. But you know, I'm actually very attracted to all types of women. So yeah, I simply just celebrate women. Yeah.
Oh, that's so awesome. Thank you. I love that. I celebrate women. I love that. I love the modern man, I must say. So let's jump over to Mike, my new buddy here in New York. I'm so excited to start doing some business with you, Mike. I'm really excited. And not to mention, Mike and I can lunch and drink champagne in the afternoon for hours and hours and enjoy life. And I love that about you, Mike. Thank you for being so cool. So I love your niche. And since I met you at the Date Meister event, you said that you do help women get married. And that really caught my eye, especially for a lot of the women that I work with. I know that's their highest intention. And I felt that niche was so cool because it is so needed. Sometimes women are so successful these days. Mike? Wait, that's John. Mike?
Yes.
Okay, there you are. So, you know, sometimes women, the modern woman, you know, thankfully to the 70s, we can work our buns off and we can be so successful. It's so awesome to have that experience in big cities like New York and Miami and Los Angeles. It's very thrilling for me as an entrepreneurial woman in the modern age. And a lot of them actually forget these days about the whole marriage, or they realize, you know, when they're 35, oh my God, my eggs timing is limited, maybe it's wise I get married, and it can form a little bit of an urgency, which is never good for dating, and that's the first thing that will scare men off. But I liked your niche where you can actually then teach somebody how to then actualize that reality without going in with some sort of desperation or urgency, and really teach them about men, what men really want, and help them actually get married. So I thought that was really cool, and I want you to tell us more about that.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for the kind words. I appreciate it. Kudra, is the camera on me?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Thank you, sir. All right. Yeah, so thank you so much for the kind words. You're absolutely right. You don't want to be in a situation where there has to be urgency because you want to have kids. So it's absolutely great when I'm working with women in their mid-40s that maybe have bypassed the whole kids idea and were super successful and just had their head down on their career, finally pick their head up and they're like, oh my God, I want to get married. I want to find love. I've got everything. I've got the perfect family, got the perfect job. And so, yeah, those are the people I want to work with that are, ready for love and, hopefully, and they want to find a high-quality man and do it in an efficient manner.
That's awesome. It's so needed, and I really can see that with the femmes that are so successful in working. And the cool thing with my matchmaking right now is that I am attracting a lot of even femmes in their 20s that are very busy in finance, doctors, lawyers, and I'm providing an efficiency matchmaking services for them. So keep in mind, too, that a lot of these younger women are now coming in also wanting to learn more about men and exactly how to get to that goal of getting married. The marriage thing is so big. As a scientist, I can teach you all, as I study personality types in-depthly and with my graduate empirical work, it is about 82% of all human beings around us, personality type, to actually value and cherish that. I'm obviously not part of that personality type. That's why I am 40 and I've never been married, because I don't necessarily value that. I'm starting to maybe now, probably for business purposes and things like that. So I'm not of that type. But most women that you guys go out on dates with, or men that the women go out on dates with, really do value and cherish the institution of marriage. And that is why it is so important. So Kuj, let me ask you, why do men fear being the first to say I love you, or I want this relationship to be exclusive?
Well, I think it is fear. And I would call it a special type of fear is false evidence appearing real, F-E-A-R. And that is, if a man often feels that as soon as he makes a commitment, the bigger, better deal is going to pop up. Or it'll turn out the woman is a gold digger. Or it will turn out that he's lost control. And the reason I call it false evidence appearing real is because what most men don't consider is something very popular in the economics, which is theory, called opportunity cost. And opportunity cost simply means that not only does it cost you to make certain decisions, it costs you not to make certain decisions. And one of the most important things it costs you is time. So if you are constantly waiting for the bigger deal, if you're constantly fearing and running away, you're losing all of that time. And you can't really get busy with building a relationship. it's not like an a relationship is not like an off the shelf suit that's gonna that one day you're just going to walk in, pick it up, and it's going to fit perfectly. It's something that you have to build. It's something you got to work at. And when it's time for you to start working on it, that is the one thing that you don't have on your side.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I did want to bring up this piece of paper that I found today as I was writing. This is from Mike's writing when I met Mike at a Date Meister event. Mike?
Hello.
Yeah, when I met you, I don't know if you remember, but you had passed out these sheets. And I thought, you know, this is actually how to get a non-committal man to commit. And I thought this was so appropriate for me to read tonight of Mike's tips on how to get a non-committal man to commit. And he says, signs that your man does not want a relationship with you. Number one, he only wants sex once per week. He only texts you once, and I know all the men are going to agree, and the men haven't heard this yet, so I'm loving this. Texting once or twice per week is purely a setup for sex. No phone calls, 0 introductions to the family, not speaking every day, and not scheduling dates in advance. And I thought, you know, this is so cool for women to hear because, you know, in the dating craziness in Los Angeles and Miami and New York with all the apps and things, and Dan, you can tell us how it is in Germany, if it's really very abundant there as well, like it is in these big cities in America. And there's a lot of this where I get a lot of clients, a lot of femmes wondering how much energy or should they open their heart to this particular man or not. And I thought that these tools were really cool. It really kind of narrows it down for the ladies to, like, you know, if he's only texting you once a week and only wanting sex from you once a week, more than likely he's probably having sex with a few other women throughout that week. You know, little things like this that I thought were just a jewel that you put on there. So thank you very much for that. I really appreciate that.
So Dr. Love, we're running out of time. I want to know from you what have been your empirical findings and client research, or what they've shown that men need and desire in 2016.
Okay. Well, since we are evolving to the more modern man where sex is not going to be, sex or companionship is not their primary need necessarily for women, and they can marry for much more. Once they do want to secure and form some relationship development with us, what the man really needs in 2016 is sexy, fun, loving joy. And some of you have heard me say this before because I do have a program I created last year called the Sexy, Fun, Loving Joy program. And that evolved out of this idea that men, what they really need is the non-bitch. Really. The bitch is old. That came from a book in the 90s called The Rules, and that might have worked back then before a lot of apps and dating websites were up. Right now, a guy can get a pretty girl in the morning, a hooker in the afternoon, and your sister at night. You know, like the dating apps are out of control. And the femme that's standing out to the man the most is the one that's light energy, sexy, fun, loving joy. Even the guy clients I work with that are married to high maintenance women, beautiful women that might have a little bit of a bitch side, nah, I teach my femmes, you might get divorced. You really need to clean that up because men don't need to chase. This is no longer the prehistoric times. Men don't need to chase. Now, you need to keep attraction going once you have him, absolutely. But the bitch is not working anymore, because men really can have a woman that's beautiful and full of sexy, fun-loving joy. So the number one tool that I want to leave everyone with today, if they are a woman that men need, is quit being so sensitive. Lighten up. Shoot the shit with your man. Be sexy, fun-loving joy. If you're really shy and coy, and you know, buy yourself a bustier, or he comes home, be washing the dishes in some heels, and even if it's a t-shirt, you know, that's a little open. Lighten up your attitude at all times, because the women that are too much of a bitch in 2016 are being dumped left and right, because the competition.
Introduce something.
Huh?
Okay, so
Yeah.
I think actually, so sexy, fun-loving joy, that's great, but you know, that doesn't do it for me, to be honest. What I need is intellect and someone that has depth. If they don't have that, you're mentioning all these wonderful qualities, but you're missing the thing that keeps a man holding on. And what's
intellect and depth.
Say again? I
Not
didn't hear.
all personality types need intellect and depth.
Oh, I understand, but I think a strong woman with intellect and depth, she should not be afraid to be that. She should be that person, and she should be a man that wants that.
She was a big bitch.
You know, the ones that think a strong, confident woman is being a bitch, I would say don't even worry about those people, because the one that you want, the person that's going to be your counter, is going to cherish those qualities. I mean, why wouldn't you want a woman that's brilliant? Why wouldn't you want a woman that has the sexy, fun love as well as the mind and the soul?
I agree. Let me present it to you this way. If you have woman A, who it turns you on mentally, intellectually, she's a humanitarian, she's got sexy, fun-loving joy going on, and she's wonderful. Then you have woman B, who has all three of those amazing qualities as well, but she's a big bitch. Which one are you going to keep?
Well, I mean, that's a funny question, because it's pretty obvious. Does anybody want a big bitch? But what is a big bitch? I mean,
I'm not excluding. Right. I'm not excluding what your personality type specifically likes. You're very much a humanitarian. You're very much a high intellect. So you want the woman that has it all. But if you have one that's got this nasty side to her, or bitches at everything you do, that's going to be a no-no. Right, so I wasn't excluding that. But
okay, let me interrupt. We have 30 seconds for each of you guys to close, to give your just final thoughts and recommendations on how they can get in contact with you if you put up your website. Let's begin with John. John?
Well, I don't. That was Mike. I don't. I used to teach dating for guys, but I don't anymore. I would refer anyone looking for advice over to Mike.
Mike.
Hi, I think that's Dan.
You're on the main screen. You're up, Mike.
Oh, well, thank you. If anyone wants to check me out, I'm on easydatingcoach.com. If you have been watching this show, I'm happy to offer a complimentary chat with me about your dating life. If you're serious about looking for love, marriage, I 100% want to help you achieve that goal. So looking forward to getting to know our audience better and hopefully getting some women married.
Dan.
All right, guys. So first off, if you want to follow my journey, my life, see what's going on with what I like and love, just follow my Instagram and Twitter, which is @IamDanCameron, DanCameron. Or if you want to get a little deeper into the humanitarian ideas I have, and just some of the things I'm working on, and also what I like and love, go to my website, which is www.iamdancameron.com. It'll be up soon. Bye.
Gabby, you got 30 seconds to take us out.
Thank you all for joining us, and thank you to this hot male cast and that I have today. I feel so blessed because I feel you guys could really teach us femmes a lot. So thank you for being here, and I hope to see you all next time for Femme 2016, which will air on March 20th.
Thank you.
Woo!
Thank you, everybody.
Gabby,
And we're
thank you
out.
so much for having